On today's video, we'll look at a scenario in which Morocco and Algeria go to war. And well, we'll get Algeria to declare war. Because I think Morocco will win. Or do I? Who knows? Morocco does have a good chance, but Algeria also does. It could go either way. Because I don't think one's much weaker. One has better friends. But that doesn't necessarily mean anything. With the offensive beginning and a coastal offensive in the north, and with the Rabat offensive closely capturing the capital, as over here their troops move into this direction. With them encircling multiple areas as they bring a full-on front line. And they get an ally in Western Sahara. And the advances are getting worse, with a massive counteroffensive being launched by Morocco, moving troops away from Rabat and pushing them all the way back to here. Kind of humiliating Algeria in the process. Well, Algeria's advances continue in the north, along with the counterattacks. They even managed to reach back to the border in some areas, with some kind of stalemate breaking out. And yes, right now this video is going too fast. But honestly, this war isn't unlikely, is what the bad part is. This could happen. They're not friendly neighbors. Unlike these two nations somehow became friendly neighbors. Yeah, maybe these will. It would be much better for both of them if they were just friends, though. They got along. And you know what? That'll never happen. With Moroccan forces entering the Western Sahara, there's not enough Algerian troops to help them. Also, keep in mind, most of the Western Sahara is actually occupied, technically. But, yeah. Right now. With them managing to make it to the coast. Which they use this as a moral gain for morale. But, they can't achieve it, as Morocco pushes them back. Actually, this was the first video ever, not this one, first ever video on my channel was a Morocco-Algeria war. Well, they get pushed back in the north. But their goal now becomes to seize the northern area, with Morocco struggling against this offensive. But with Morocco finally mobilized fully, they launch in extreme actions. They do stuff that warring countries like to do. With them using this setup for surprise attack beyond the enemy line. With them trying to get behind these lines, which they managed to do. They also managed to cut in there, shocking the enemy with them retreating days after claiming they probably wouldn't need to. Algeria is so angry at this as they push it back, only getting to the borders in only some areas. Morocco takes this opportunity as an opportunity to launch an offensive. But Algeria uses this as a chance to launch an offensive. But doing this led this area up here to be vulnerable, so they cut through into northern Algeria. But they get pushed back, with a stalemate forming. And they need an ally against Morocco. With them meeting Mauritania without consulting the rebels. Here they say you can have all of Western Sahara if you help us. They decide to, as they want this land. with Morocco being held for shock by this, which leads to them withdrawing some troops from here, leading to the fall of this front, to launch an offensive to cut off aid between these two areas. And they even continued into the southern areas of Algeria. Algeria manages to push them back over here. And they manage to do this. But this offensive gets stalled off. And Morocco launches forces into a naval landing over here, which manages to effectively capture Mauritania's coast. I don't know where Mauritania's capital is. I probably should have looked at it before deciding to bring them in, but I didn't. So let's say it's there for no reason, but because, yeah. And they encircle it and they move in. With Mauritania in trouble, with them being forced to collapse. With them finally managing to take the offensive, launching an offensive towards just north of Paris. Not Paris, Rabat. And they encircle Rabat somehow. They probably already took it and they take it. They think this will roar them victory. But what they didn't expect was it didn't. And quickly the people raise their own flag over Rabat. And that's just motivating them as they cross the border into Algeria. And well, France is not a fan of this. But let's be honest, they're secretly colonizing. Well, I mean, the British decided, we'll either destroy your country or we'll build it up. Now you better hope you're the lucky one who gets their country built up. Well, they move in. Algeria launches a counteroffensive. Not his last-ditch offensive, because it's not. But the next one will be. As the First Battle of Algiers breaks out, Algiers gets captured in the full north, and then a new offensive down here begins. But Algeria, determined, decides to launch a full-on offensive, which leads to them capturing Algiers in many areas, even pushing them all the way back to the border. But that was not going to do anything. As they launch an offensive over here to get up encircling these forces, a lot of them that were here, and then they move and they take Algiers. This time they manage to take all of the north. Not all the north, obviously. And then they move to here. Algeria decides to surrender, now for a peace treaty. All of what could be the Western Sahara. Big chunks of Algeria, parts in the desert, these lands, basically nothing. Here, the coast, there's more. And they annexed a tiny bit of the coast of Mauritania and a bit of the border territories. And well, they do nothing else but demand war reparations. And well, as you can see, that's pretty much all for today's video. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Wild Mapper out, and until you subscribe. Bye, guys!